The history of naval warfare changed forever on a dark, humid night in 1776. While the world watched massive wooden ships exchange cannon fire on the surface, a silent, experimental revolution was brewing beneath the waves of New York Harbor. This is the story of the Turtle, the world's first combat submarine, and the daring mission that pioneered undersea warfare.
By 1776, the American Revolutionary War was in a dire state. The British Royal Navy had established a crushing blockade around New York, their massive men-of-war ships bristling with cannons. The Continental Army, led by George Washington, had no fleet capable of challenging these giants. Enter David Bushnell, a brilliant inventor and Yale graduate. He realized that if you couldn't defeat a ship from the side, you had to attack it from below, where it was most vulnerable. He spent years developing a craft he called the Turtle. Constructed of reinforced oak and bound by iron bands, the Turtle looked like two large tortoise shells joined together. It was barely large enough for one man. To operate it, the pilot had to be a master of multitasking. Navigation. One hand turned a crank for the vertical propeller, the other for the horizontal one. Depth control. Foot pedals operated valves to let water into ballast tanks to dive, while hand pumps were used to eject water to surface. Weaponry. A large wooden screw was mounted on the top, intended to drill into the wooden hull of an enemy ship to attach a 150-pound keg of gunpowder equipped with a clockwork fuse.
Lee began the final phase of the mission. He attempted to drive the screw into the ship's hull. However, no matter how hard he cranked, the drill would not bite into the wood. Unknown to the Americans, the British had recently begun sheathing their warships' hulls in copper plating to protect them from barnacles and shipworms. Lee tried a different spot, but his luck didn't hold. Each time he pushed, the Turtle simply pushed itself away from the ship because there wasn't enough leverage. Gasping for air as his oxygen supply dwindled, and with the sun beginning to rise, Lee realized he had to retreat. The Great Explosion. As Lee surfaced to make his escape, he was spotted by British soldiers at Governor's Island. To distract his pursuers, Lee decided to release his torpedo, the gunpowder mine. He set the timer and let it drift. A short while later, a massive explosion rocked the harbor, sending a gigantic column of water into the air. While the HMS Eagle remained unharmed, the psychological impact was profound. The British were terrified by this invisible threat. They immediately moved their fleet further out into the bay, fearing that the Americans had mastered a form of infernal magic. Though the mission failed to sink a ship, it proved that a submarine could be used as a weapon of war. General George Washington later called the attempt an effort of genius. The Turtle paved the way for future innovations, leading to the development of the H.L. Hunley during the Civil War, and eventually the nuclear-powered giants that roam the oceans today. Ezra Lee's lonely, suffocating journey in a wooden barrel remains one of the most courageous firsts in military history.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe my channel and comment on the box.